y'all sing the song? Summer has gone.
Jesus. It is officially fall, so.
It is officially fall. It's the end of September. We are doing Switch Up September. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast this week.
We've made it. Hello.
We made it. Much. We were off last week. Just everyone was scattered around the country. It just didn't work off. Yeah. So.
But we're here again.
We're all back.
Make sure you like, subscribe, smash that bell or whatever it's called.
It's Switch Up September. So we are doing a different kind of project, and I think we have a hell of a choice for this month. I'm gonna let Jasper be the little champion for this album because it was his idea, but I fully endorsed it from the beginning, so I'm also very excited about it. How's everyone else doing? I know we're all kind of on a personal upswing. This is
yes.
I know everyone's life is like a little bit better than it was.
A little.
Yeah, everyone's life is just a little bit better than it was last time we all talked, which is better than the opposite. It's better than the opposite.
One step at a time. I'm older. I guess I should mention I'm a year older now.
Yeah,
that happened.
Time's an illusion.
Hey, look, I man, it up. 27 Club. It is worth
flat circle.
Yeah, time's a flat circle. Everything we've ever done and everything we'll ever do is all the same.
Purvis, what day was it? I feel like a bad friend. I don't even.
The 18th? I think you did say happy birthday. If not, you said it before.
Okay. All right,
so
making sure.
I do not hold that against you. I'm not that type of person.
Dude, I have to ask Purvis every year, like, hey, Purvis, what day in September is your birthday? Like,
at least you asked in September. Like, you're pretty close. So,
yeah,
like,
I know.
Now if you get the month, I feel like that's enough.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh my god.
I reset my my dictionary in my phone because it started miscapitalizing things, and it just changed your name to Purview when I tried to put you in my calendar.
Wow.
I can take that new nickname.
That's very Caucasian.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Samsung, the most Caucasian of the phones.
Is it?
No, that was the joke.
I was going to say.
Dude, in Korea, though, the Korean beauty standards.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
all right, I'm going to do the news.
I don't have anything else to say beyond that. Let's do this.
Yes, let's jump right into it. It's not a crazy packed week for news. We do have a couple of things because we missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In terms of the albums coming out this week, we have the return of the baby, something that we all wanted and wished for.
No.
Not really. He is dropping. How the fuck is this a mixtape? And we're all asking the same thing.
Good title, I guess. Like,
thank you for reading our minds. But that's a thing. So
okay, well, I hate that.
I'm sure you'll hear a song.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point I'll hear it when the shitty people who live in the cross the street are going to their car.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Much more exciting news, I think. We finally have the first release of Tommy Richmond.
Yeah, his first album.
The banger singles that came out. He said they're not going to be on the album, but
no, they're not. He had a song that he did release ahead of time that is going to be on the album. I think.
Yes, Whitney.
Not Whitney. It came out before that. There was another one. I think it was like. I listened to it. Rachel liked it a lot more than I did. But I liked it.
You were the one?
Yeah, thought you were the one. So I liked it a lot. I think it's pretty high stakes right now. You know, I think it is Tommy Richmond going to be a TikTok artist or is he going to be a regular artist? I've really liked a lot of the singles he's put out. So liked a lot of the work. So I'm hoping this album's great. I have a bit of a backlog to get through, but
same.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to listen to this.
Yeah. I'm here for it, and like you said, I think this is going to be a very big deal for him if he's going to be TikTok or a real artist, because he can kill TikTok.
Yeah, no, and look, we all know he can make a hit, but like, can you make a whole project? You know, that's the difference between like a musician and an artist.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then the last album coming out, he actually has a single titled this, so I'm surprised it's the album name. But Leon Thomas will be dropping Mutt. I don't know if you guys remember, he dropped an album last year, and I believe it either made it in my top 10 or honorable mention at the end of the year. But he is a fantastic R&B artist. He is a black dude from Victorious, and now he's a real artist. But super excited for this. I think this will be an album that I'll be listening to probably tonight. So yeah.
Very cool.
Besides that, we have a ton of collaborations exiting the summer. We have some songs that are already out. We have Maxo Cream partnering with Tyler the Creator.
That's a
I
good
believe
one.
it's
I gotta
a
listen to this
video.
track. I know it's out. I haven't listened to it yet.
I haven't heard the whole thing. The beat goes hard.
I listened to it on the way home from the train from work. It was it's actually really good.
I don't doubt it. I like Maxo a lot, and I like Tyler a lot. So I have a hard time.
Rapping,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I was kind of surprised. I didn't even know it came out. I was just go on Apple Music and I saw it. I'm like, oh, this is new.
Yeah, I've been wanting our streaming service to be better about new music. I feel like Spotify is not good at that.
No, Spotify's awful at it. Spotify is just getting very bad as a platform. It's just overextending itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a change soon. A shifting of powers. Didn't Tidal just get like bought out or something?
Who knows?
Yeah, who cares? Another one that we have, this technically is already out because they played it live at the live stream, but The Weeknd and Party Next Door is dropping their single called Timeless.
You mean Playboy Cardi?
Or Playboy Cardi, sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Party Next Door.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Playboy Cardi.
Yeah, one's much squeakier.
One is much squeakier. Okay, that caught me off guard. But yes, they'll be dropping Timeless. We also have Fat Money featuring Pusha T. They dropped the song Immunity that's a part of their album Cinco de Money 8 Part 3. Because that's a crazy name.
That's a crazy name. But that name goes ridiculously hard.
Yes. But I did hear the Pusha T verse and it's good. It's very good. I think we'll be getting a rollout very soon, hopefully, for the Eclipse album.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Give it some push.
And then the last single, Daylit is partnering with J. Cole. They dropped A Plate of Collard Greens, which is just so black. Yeah, I love it. But I heard the beat on this again, didn't hear the whole song, but it sounds great. So I'm here for it. It seems like J. Cole's back in his feature bag. So
I hope so. That last the last one was Grippy.
Was that the most recent one?
Oh, I don't think so. I think there was another one between that and that, but that's the one
that's the bad one.
Yeah, it just he got dissed and then he came out with Grippy. It was not a good week.
Yeah. The debate shifted a lot this year.
Yeah.
We'll probably end up having an episode about that sooner or later.
God. But yeah, I'm excited for I've not listened to any of these.
No. I said, I've heard parts of some of them. So
yeah.
Well, actually, Jasper, I'm surprised you didn't hear the Tyler one. Have you heard the Tyler one?
No, I've been under a rock this week. Brown Bank tried to kill me on the way out.
Locking in. I'm not mad at you. I understand.
Shout out, senior leadership.
You're almost done. It's almost over. But anyway, some more collabs. Another one with J. Cole. T Grizzly is dropping Blow for Blow. That should be really dope. That's dropping tonight. We have Young Thug from The Cell partnering with Nigo. Jasper, your favorite producer, one of them, dropping Dope Boy. The Kid Laroi is partnering with Gunna, Baby I'm Back. And then we have Bia and Lil Yachty, someone that I wouldn't think anybody would want to partner with right now. Is dropping Pissed Off.
Yeah.
But anyway. Last but not least, we have Meek Mill dropping Who Decides War, which you're the last person that should be talking about anything right now. You should be hiding as much as you can. And we'll get to that after this. And then we have a bunch of music videos. So we have a Schoolboy Q video or two. Travis Scott dropped a video to a very old single. And then we have The Alchemist dropping a video as well, a part of his newest album that dropped last week.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah, he dropped last week with Pluto. I'm not. It's on the top of my thing. I'll probably listen to it tonight. I cannot believe I haven't listened to the Alchemist album yet.
It's really good.
I don't doubt it. I fucking love it. I love the Alchemist so much. I don't know why I haven't listened to it. I've been not listening to music this week. I'm sorry, but yeah, no.
I'm curious on that Kid Leroy Gunna song. I'm very curious on that one.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
It's a weird
Because
combination, but it'll work.
Just the name, you have to think they're gonna sample "Baby I'm Back,"
Oh
like the old classic rock song, pop song. So you figure they're gonna probably sample that. So I'm curious on like Gunna being part of something like that. That's where I'm just like, how is he gonna fit in?
It's actually a good point. I even think about them like they're probably gonna sample it. You're right. Oh, I think the song's out. Is it out? And it is a sample. You were. So I'm gonna have to look at that. Oh, it's a remix. So Gunna wasn't traditionally on the song, and he will be on the song. So I see the catch now.
All right.
But you were correct. It is a sample.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, that's all the news coming out. Ton of collabs, but again, we're leaving summer, going into fall. Everyone's trying to get that hit out.
Yeah.
But on to the actual news.
Well, maybe the biggest story,
or they're just hiding from the biggest story there is.
Yeah.
I mean,
mean,
maybe the biggest story of the year, and
which is crazy considering the year.
yeah,
But yeah, Diddy is officially in jail, or not in jail, but
yeah, no, he's in jail. Yeah,
he's in jail. Like they denied his bail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
He's in jail. He's on suicide watch.
Well, you know what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah, Diddy is officially in jail. I believe they called him in New York.
Did you guys watch the arrest video?
Wasn't like walking into a mall or something?
He was just walking in. Cops stopped him. They moved him out of sight from the camera, and then he walks back inside and he's arrested. Like his hands are behind his back.
It sounds about right. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is dastardly, dude. Like all the stuff that we've been hearing, like
I was thinking about that too, because this isn't like new. I feel like this has been going on for some months now. I just remember hearing one time just like, oh, he left the country on a one-way ticket. And we're all like, that's not a good look. And now we're here.
I think there's going to be
or 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Oh my god, not
there's going to be so much that comes up on this.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be
in trouble.
God, yeah.
Well, I think they're going to end up trying to. He hasn't been quiet on Instagram. He's been posting like videos of him making beats and all that.
The beats, yeah, but he hasn't said anything lately.
Who?
Kanye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, because he fucking hates Diddy, and
So does 50 Cent. So does
50
Eminem.
Cent is like working with victims. He's
They're
working on a Netflix documentary, like, and a bunch of like the victims have like come forward, and they said that's like going to be where they speak out.
He's producing it. I love when 50 Cent does a public good out of spite.
Dude, it's like kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to be like, oh, the most morally upstanding thing anyone in hip hop is doing right now is literally just because he hates Diddy. Like,
yeah, literally.
And you know what? I can get behind that. I like that idea.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Like Diddy seems real bad. Like,
I think they're gonna try and flip Tupac and Biggie's murders on him.
It's possible.
That's what Eminem's been saying.
Eminem,
I think that's more than likely gonna happen. They're gonna just throw everything at him.
Jesus Lord, this is gonna be crazy. But what can we do? The older we get, the more we see these artists just turn out very bad.
Yeah, the artists that we grew up hearing our parents listen to.
Yeah,
look what we're.
Not gonna be.
Look how they're ending.
Officially
it's not great.
But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Unfortunately, the A$AP Rock album has been delayed until next year. The next rumored release date is now in March, which is extremely annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone should tell him to not be dumb.
I want to remove your rights.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I want to remove your right to vote, to be honest.
I have to clarify to that.
You're going to need everyone you can get. I don't know about that, Chief.
No.
Wrong. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Days Before Rodeo has a documentary that came out on my birthday on the 18th. I believe that is a partnership with Spotify. So that was interesting. We have SZA cosplaying as a bug for Hot Ones.
This is real weird. I don't. What?
I don't get it.
I do.
She just
It's
looks
so
like
that she doesn't. It's so she doesn't accidentally touch her eyes when they do the hot sauce
Is
because
that
he's like
why?
he's
Yeah,
always
but
like
you could
careful
just-
around your eyes.
Yeah, but you
You
could
could
just
wear
wear
glasses.
just wear regular glasses. Like I wear like
You could have
You
got
see-
away with goggles, and I would have
I'd
judged you.
be going like this. I don't know.
she literally is saying like I don't. It was just very.
I'm tired of
silly.
not being a bug. Yeah.
It's like very funny. I just can't watch it now.
Isn't
because
funny?
I can't-
Like,
it's like
I
funny.
was trying to think, like, if she was cast in anything, like, if she's spoofing off that.
No, I think
nothing.
she just is being.
Says a Bug's Life remake.
I just think
Nope.
SZA probably has connections to Incredible Weed. I think that's really what we have to
I
be.
was gonna say half of her posts on Instagram is her just in some random forest on a spiritual journey. So I feel like this might be a part of it.
More
Yeah.
like Kill Bill. Am I right, fellas?
You get away with one pun an
Yeah,
episode.
no,
You have to
no.
limit yourself.
Oh no! I had another one. We just glossed over the Travis Scott bit.
Yeah,
You know,
here we
if
go.
the if the documentary for what is it? Astroworld was Look Mama Can Fly. Why didn't they call this one Look Mamacita?
All right,
because
fine, you can have it.
I'm gonna throw
It's
myself. in
it's
the
on
lake.
brand. What do you
Fine,
want? from me?
it works. I'm just upset that it works. But anyway, closing out the news. I have not seen the shoes. I've been trying to find them, but it seems like there is a teaser that Kid Cudi is releasing Man on the Moon shoes for the 15th anniversary. I can't find them. I don't know if they've been released to the public.
Yeah,
They probably haven't. And no, Kid Cudi, it's probably with Bape.
It's
That
not.
is
It's some
true.
other brand. There was a teaser for it on his Instagram where he just showed the box,
Yeah, that's all.
and
I
that was about it. So I think we're still waiting.
That's kind of annoying, but I understand. It is what it is. But that's all the news. Are we doing schools in session? Do you guys? We haven't done it in a while.
Should we do it? Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Let's make it like a lightning round now.
Let's make it like a
Yeah,
lightning round.
We got a lot to
Everyone-
talk about.
Yeah, everyone just.
All right. Brent Fias.
Brent Fias, A.
Okay,
And I have no idea who that
I'm
is.
cool with that. You don't know who Brent Fias?
B plus.
Damn it, Jeff.
We know Purvis. We know it today.
It hurts.
Dude, he's so good. Fuck the world, so good.
So good, so good. Okay, Freddie
Wait.
Gibbs. I don't know how we haven't done him.
Freddie Gibbs, A plus.
A.
Another A. Okay,
Dude,
lightning
the guy
round.
made Alfredo.
It's hard.
Have we all seen him live? Because I saw him at Lollapalooza.
I have
We
not.
saw him at Summer Smash.
I saw him twice. I saw him
Wait,
at.
oh,
the
we did see him at Summer Smash.
Yeah, we
Sorry,
did.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Like, when I saw him at Lollapalooza, the cops were even saying, fuck the cops.
real. We
Real.
like them.
No, Freddie Gibbs is great. He just gets drunk, real drunk.
Yeah,
I went
he
to
does.
Mary Gibbs Miss in 2022. It was incredible.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
My buddy AJ sold him a jacket.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Hope
I
he
think
made a lot of money.
I think you met him. My buddy works with Jeff Hamilton.
I think I recall meeting him once.
Yeah.
I think.
Shout out AJ. He's the homie.
I like that. All right. Freddie Wap. Yeah, baby.
S tier. 1738.
Yeah,
That's what
I
I
give
yell
him-
to myself
I
coming
give
home
him
drunk at 2 in the morning.
17 out of 38 trap queens.
He was the king of that summer.
Dude, that
That's all I
summer-
can say.
2015, that was all you could hear.
Yep.
Uh,
baby.
All everyone was playing.
I'm probably gonna go B. I think like he had like I thought he was good. Like
Yeah, B is
B.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
he's like the
okay with
iconic
hello.
one album wonder.
yeah.
Isn't he in jail?
Yeah, he's
Yes.
in jail
Might
now.
be,
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyway. This one might actually be a hidden gem. I know Brandon knows who it is. Injury reserve. Your reaction.
I fucking love Injury Reserve, dude.
I haven't listened to their music in a while, but I was like, man, Injury
They're
Reserve, good.
well, because like one of their members died during COVID,
Yes.
and so they broke up. the living members created a new group called Bystorm, and yeah, no, their earliest stuff and their most recent album, which are probably their most critically lauded, is very weird and out there. I actually like a little bit more of their grittier stuff. Like I love Drive It Like It's Stolen.
Mm.
That mixtape is fucking incredible. So yeah, they're a little weird outlet out of Arizona. You don't see a lot of hip hop come out of Arizona. Just real fucking good. Just real fucking good. A. Easy. Yeah, easy.
I'm good with like a
this
BB.
is this is Brockhampton for paranoid 30-year-olds. Like
I have no idea who they are.
yeah.
But I would recommend listening to them if you have not heard of them.
Yeah.
It'll be a good listen. It's different. I'll put it that way. But yeah, let's play some high B low A. I think that's a good option.
Yeah.
Next one and our last one, a little controversial. J Electronica.
J Electronica, Jadolf Smitler.
Jadolf
Wrong
Smitler.
B.
Okay. Any reasoning or just a good beat?
I like him. I like his music.
I agree. A solid beat.
I mean,
I
think he's just like a solid beat. Yeah, he gets some good features too.
Features.
My thing is, one, I always confuse him with J Rock, and then I remember I like J Rock a lot more. So there's that. There's all the fucked up shit. I would probably still go with like a C-.
Okay.
Because like I have liked a lot of his features. Like I don't think he's like bad by any stretch. Like he's not. I just think like the way he carries himself outside. I think a lot of his affiliations with like people in the political sphere, his connection to like the Trump campaign is like kind of questionable. I have like a special loathing in my heart for people who like flex like a marginalized identity. Like he claims to be very pro-black and then just completely, like kneels to the authoritarian like Republican Party. So it's like, it's like very hard to take any positive thing he says seriously, and he also says a lot of negative shit. But I'm not going to admit he's not really good though. Like, so I think, like, so I think
personality brings him down to a C-.
I think his personality, and I also don't think he has had like an iconic album, right? Like, I'm an album focused like person. Like, I am all about like bodies of work, like and I just don't think J Electronica has had like that. Like everything else aside, like I just don't know if it's one thing to have features, which he's great. It's one thing to do songs, which is, even more. It's another thing to do albums. I just don't think he's ever gotten there. So I think even that would keep him at like a B. And then you have like all the other shit. Yeah, all the other shit. So I'm probably going to land at like a C-.
Okay. Understandable. Jasper, do you know who this is?
Yes, I know who J Electronica is. He has the best verse on Donda.
That is fair.
That's not true. That's
if
not
that's connection. Then
he's
fine.
not 5-year foreign.
I don't know. I think it gives 5-year a run for its money. I'm not gonna lie.
Good. See, when I was out of jail, was low key. I don't know. That one goes. That off the grid verse is fucking crazy.
Donda.
I'm just gonna get blackballed for mine because mine's the baby song, like his feature. His is like one of my favorites.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
Like I said, I'm gonna get blackballed for it, but I love that.
God.
All right, fine. I'll give it to you, I guess.
I just hate that version of the song because I think Marilyn Manson ruins it. I just hate his vocal.
Yes, I agree. I do think he ruins it.
Yeah,
I was like, isn't that the remix version, like the second version?
Yeah,
that's the version we saw. Yeah, the OG one's better, but I like the baby verse.
That's fair.
Like
I actually
I wish it had 3 features. I wish it had all 3.
Yeah,
and cut out Marilyn Manson.
I stand by the fact that I do think that was a better DaBaby verse, but it was still like a DaBaby verse in 2021. So it was, like.
Say what you want. Say what you want.
I got you. I understand.
All right,
are we done?
We're done. That's all of them.
Well, before we're done, last thing, I pulled up the verse, the Jay Electronica verse. I want to leave you with a line.
Go on.
Back from the great beyond, like the son of man or the son of Donda, I never rolled the GSXR, the R6, or the Honda, but I flew my Ducati through North America like Wakanda. Earthquakes will strike this nation for what Bush did to Rwanda, what Clinton's did to Haiti, and Downing Street did to Ghana. Fuck. That shit goes hard.
I'll give it to you. That is that. Yeah. But then
I was just like, let me pull up the Jadolf Smittler verse real quick. Like,
True. Yeah.
balance. Life's a balance.
it's like, oh my god, and like what the controversy with No Name when she was like, oh, why would you call him that? And be like, he calls himself that. Like he said that was his name on a West Side Gun song. Like,
what a response from No Name.
God,
why is he on your album? I don't know.
I don't know. All right. So
I don't want to get canceled.
Is that our 5? Do you have another one or?
That is 5. We are done. Congratulations, we all graduated again.
Thank you. We all done. No.
Bigger than your masters.
This is a big deal.
Motherfuckers can't pull you across that motherfucking stage.
Oh my god! All right, I'm ready to get to the main show for tonight.
Let's do it.
Are we ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Oh my god, I'm so happy to be talking about this in an election year. What American Idiot, everybody. Jasper, do you want to do your little introduction? You want to do the introduction for the album?
The greatest rock opera ever made.
That's what I kept.
Take that, Queen. Yeah. One of the most, if not the most influential non-hip hop albums, in my view, of the 2000s. This album came out 2004 and came out right around the re-election of George Bush for a second term, following a pretty violent explosion into Iraq and Afghanistan following 9/11. This album was actually recorded semi by accident, in the sense that Green Day originally had recorded a previous album to this that they were going to release in place of it, but it was actually stolen. All of the files that they had for the project were basically stolen as part of like a computer that got lifted or something similar, where they no longer had any of the final versions of the songs that they had put together for this project. So they went back to the drawing board and they came up with this. So this was never even the initial album that was supposed to be released during this cycle, but it was. And it ended up having, I don't even know how many of these songs have gone like platinum, how many hits off of this album. There's probably too many to count when you look at like how each ballad of a song is broken up into parts, and there's so many that are quotable, memorable. And this is one of those albums, just like Because the Internet, that continues to grow more relevant as time goes on. And we've definitely seen, as things have become politically more polarized, black and white, a lot of the concepts here, whether it's in politics or the opioid, crisis, all of these things are really coming to a head. And this album really kind of captures that essence and immortalizes it in a sense.
Well, I think you did a really good job introducing that. But yeah,
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, no, this is a watershed moment. I think for me personally, as a music listener, I think this is huge. Like this is technically the first album I ever bought with my own money. Like I went to the store me and Purvis met at, and it was 2 for $15, and I got this and I got College Dropout.
Bangers. Good selections.
Yeah, and that just kind of set the tone for my entire life. But yeah, no, this Purvis, what was your relationship with this project? Because I know you're not a listener of this kind of music, but at the same time, I feel like the cultural saturation has to be like, there's no way you haven't heard any of these songs.
That is completely true. In terms of my connection to this album, I don't have like a real connection. And even the genre itself, we've tapped into rock and punk rock and things of that nature. I always enjoy it. I love, most importantly, I love the actual music, like the drums, the guitars that go into the music. But I just never play it by myself. With that being said, I knew that Green Day was probably one of the biggest names in modern rock, at least in the early 2000s. I don't know who's in the band. I don't know how many people are in the band. I did already have half of this album already saved.
That's
But
probably a good sign.
yes, I just had never actually sat down and played it front to back. I was mind blown that it was an hour long, but only 9 songs, but didn't realize that like half of these songs are 2-part songs, which like,
Or 4-part, yeah.
yeah, it was pretty confusing, but I mean, overall, I enjoyed the album. Like I said, I had American Idiot saved, I had Holiday saved, and Wake Me Up. So like the big ones.
Yeah. And last off, Jeff.
This was actually like one of the first rock alternative albums that got me into rock alternatives. Growing up, I was always listening to rap hip hop. That's what first got my attention in music. So this kind of helped stir me into another direction.
Yeah, I think it played, especially for you our age, Jeff. I think it played that role for a lot of us.
Yeah, because you figure, I mean, especially for us, because we were just transitioning into like sixth, seventh grade.
Yeah.
So we were going, taking the bus, going to a new school, and, interacting with another school coming in and all that from elementary school. So it was us growing and, meeting other people and being more active.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it really came out at a really important time in our lives. But
Yeah.
it is just kind of crazy how it has just kind of crystallized into like a living document about like that part of history. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of puts you immediately in the shoes of someone living in the early 2000s, kind of in this
Yeah.
kind of in like the same kind of socioeconomic class I know me and Jeff come from, which is like lower middle class. Like, not on the streets, but like
Still middle
shit's kind of
class.
tough though. Like,
That's
and
real.
yeah, no, it was truly an experience from head to toe. Do you understand why we call it white people's good kid mad city now?
I was still very confused if I'm being honest. I thought you guys said this was To Pimp a Butterfly. So this is
Oh
Good
no,
Kid, Mad City.
I would say it's good mad city because it has like a very strong narrative.
Okay,
I could kind of see it going both ways, depending on how you look at it. But yeah,
I mean,
Good Kid, Mad City is a good parallel.
it was tough for me because I will say, not that I talk about the podcast like every day or something, but I'll talk about the podcast maybe once or twice throughout the week with a friend, and I would bring up that I'm listening to this, and like I thought I was gonna get a bigger response, but like most of them just like, oh yeah, it's Green Day, and just like I was like, oh yeah, I was told this was the Pimp a Butterfly of
How
like
old were the people you were telling about that?
our age.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
from,
talk to people
this album
my
came
like
out,
me and Brandon, you talk to people our age,
yeah.
yeah,
Because I
when
do
this
it's
album
think
gonna
came
be a
that
out,
total different
we were
thing.
like 7.
because I do think like the thing that this album has, like the hardest thing about this album, or the worst, I guess like the quote unquote worst thing about it, is that it's a Green Day album, and like Green Day has had a long career since this came out. They had a long career before this came out, so
Okay.
it's like it's very easy to just like take this and like just not dismiss it, but like kind of just say like, oh, it's another Green Day album. When it is,
And with this coming out in the middle or at the start of a war, and Green Day being known as a punk band, just how punk was back then,
yeah.
going into a war breaking out,
Yep.
they knew there was going to be some sort of meaning to it. So
I think that was my biggest issue too, is that I knew there was meaning behind the lyrics and it had an overall concept. I don't know if I mean, it was an overall concept behind the lyrics. And I will say very quickly, I was impressed by like the actual lyrical structure, like what they brought up. It was actually fantastic. But I was questioning, and again, it might be because I was too young at the time. If I had heard this in 2004, I feel like I wouldn't have understood half the stuff they were talking about. Just because
Yeah,
I was too young.
I think you connect to different parts of it, and because like
Okay.
that, because like yeah, I totally understand that because I was listening to it maybe not in 2004, maybe in 2005. You
Mhm.
know,
But we were listening to it as we're going through puberty, as we're growing up.
But my point being that, like, you listen to it as a kid and you're kind of attracted to more of, like, just, like, the raw emotions of the album, right? Like, the feelings of, like, isolation, alienation, because that's what you're going through as a teenager. You're not really understanding the political undertones of it. But then, it allows you to go back and revisit it, and then those things become clearer and clearer and clearer. And, like, for me and Jeff, like, it's been probably most of our life with this album, we've been able to fully understand, like, what it's about. But I do think, like, when people at the age we were when this came out, and I think the age that most people were who have, like, such
12,
an
13.
Yeah, the people who have, like, the most intense relationship with it, I think it's because they connect to it on an emotional level, right? And I think that's true for a lot of things, not just this. But I think, it's kind of like the difference between the people, like, who came up with, like, Good Kid, Mad City, who were, like, our age, and people who came up with it when it was younger. Some of them may not have completely understood, like, what was going on, but they understood that Backstreet Freestyle went hard.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
true. Yes.
And like, Wake Me Up When September Ends, that Billy Joel Armstrong wrote that about his dad dying.
Sheesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even about someone going to war and dying. So
yeah. It is like kind of like for me, it does feel like a song. Not that it sticks out, because I think it's like one of the better songs on the album, but like it does kind of like feel like a weird break in the narrative, because it is like such a personal song in an album that is like such driven by narrative momentum.
Yeah.
Jasper?
I was just gonna say, if you want like the perfect parallel to Good Kid, Mad City, look at what swimming pools means to you as like a high schooler versus now, and then look at the song Holiday and what that would have meant to you as like a 10-year-old versus now, or like a 12-year-old. Because Holiday, if you had to pick one song from this album that encapsulates the feelings of what it's really about, I think Holiday is the one. And I know we're not really getting into the track listing yet, but dude, like this song, you read it all the way through, it's so simple in terms of its narrative structure, it's like written structure, but the bridge with the spoken part is just an absolute masterful weaving of like taking elements of the Iraq War, which a lot of people opposed at the time, and basically juxtaposing it or aligning it directly with references to Nazism and just, fascism that was prevalent in like the ideas surrounding like the Republican Party and what the Republican Party would later become in 2008 and onward. But saying pulverize the Eiffel Towers who criticize your government single-handedly. Towers is 9/11. Eiffel Towers because France criticized the U.S. for going to war in Iraq, and criticize your government. And then bang bang goes the broken glass. So the towers collapsing and Kristallnacht. German expulsion of Jews, Night of Broken Glass, that whole thing. So yeah, there's just all these parallels between, and it's like, yeah, to love the song is to dance to it. To know the song is to know what they're talking about, right? Same kind of thing.
It's an entirely different meaning at that point.
Yeah.
And it really evolves.
Maybe this is too broad of a question or something like that, but who exactly are these people in the band? Like, do they have a political background, or are they just really passionate?
Punk is just a inherently kind of political movement. It's
okay.
It is like hip hop in that way, in that like a political agenda is kind of like dialed into like the origins of the genre. Green Day, if we want to like be real fucking navel gazy about it, they're like on the poppier side. They're probably closer to someone like a Blink-182 in terms of than like a Sex Pistols or the Ramones. But that whereas their music is a lot closer to like pop music in its composition. I think they've always had like an eye for really hard hitting like songs like about like social issues and things like that. Like look at something like Welcome to Paradise, which is like moving into a rough neighborhood. Look at something like Hitching a Ride, which is like a song they have about like getting sober from alcoholism. this is maybe like the first time it was really pointed at like capital P politics. But they've always had like that kind of like razor's edge, like insightful nature to their music, or at least as far as I can tell.
And they're all originally from Oakland, so they grew up kind of witnessing Oakland in the 1980s and like what that looks like as just a place socially, politically, and then what happens to Oakland over time, as the population grows, gentrification happens, things like that. So there's definitely an element of understanding what suburbia is in the sense that that is where they come from, but then also, kind of central to the punk theme, the punk narrative is like standing up for marginalized or oppressed groups. Also, that's like kind of a big part of this as well. So like, yeah, if I had to define the three like themes of the album, it's war is bad and we hate people who want to start wars. It's suburbia is destroying the youth at the same time as war is destroying them when they get old enough. And there's like the decay of the American idea of what suburbia is. It's a false prophecy. And it's the kind of struggling of kind of growing up and finding your place in a society that is disconnected, where people are disconnected from each other, and war is kind of like a prevalent part of everyday life, like more so than it should be.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I think especially those first two ones that you brought up. I think all three are valid. I think especially the first two, like the almost existential dread that like covers everyone like a cloud when the country goes to war, combined with like just like the cultural decay of living in the suburbs, which suck. So, do you want to move forward towards the track list? And from there, we can kind of like break down the narrative, because it's kind of a very fast moving track list. Now, I don't know if it's because like I know every single one of these songs by heart, but I was just shocked at how fast I flew through the re-listen when I re-listened to it this week. So, starts with the titular track, American Idiot. Starts off with a bang, I would say. I think it's like a very, like, there's a reason why this is the name of the album and the lead single coming off of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a banger. I mean, this is obviously the most obvious song that I knew before.
Yeah.
I didn't have to revisit this one. I did eventually pull up lyrics. I didn't listen to this the first week that we were off, just because of Future and The Alchemist. But I did listen to it about 4 times this week.
Yeah.
And I pulled up the lyrics finally, and my entire thought process of this album changed once I pulled up the lyrics. Because then that's when I get the narrative behind it. And you're right, it's a perfect title track. It wraps up everything that you need to know about the album.
Yeah. Right. And I think it plays narratively because it's supposed to be quite literally like a protest song that the characters in the narrative are performing. So yeah, I think it works really good as like a flagship moment for the album. Although truthfully, most of the times I've heard this album, I skip it just because it's the song that's everywhere. Like, I really love the Jesus of Suburbia tracks. And yeah, as every time I would listen to the album, that would be the first one I would go to.
Now, speaking of, because I guess we can jump right into it, the Jesus of Suburbia, you mentioned tracks with an S. Jasper said earlier there's like 4 parts. What's going on with the song?
So
I didn't understand.
Yeah, can I do this, please? So, and I liked it because this was part of the experience of having like the jewel case.
The CD,
because on the back it would just say track 2, Jesus of Suburbia, and the second one you should think is like track 12, Homecoming. And on the inside with the lyrics, they would actually break it down, and really there are 5 songs with 5 different titles. And if you go on Wikipedia, you can find what the 5 tracks are called. So
it's on Genius right now.
Yeah. So Jesus of Suburbia, the first act is Jesus of Suburbia. The second one is City of the Damned. The third is I Don't Care. The fourth is Dearly Beloved. And the fifth is Tale of Another Broken Home. Think of it as like they're all these are two tracks that are supposed to be reminiscent of like Bohemian Rhapsody. These
Mhm.
like grand, like genre shifting, soundscape altering like narratives, right? And these are the two tracks in the album that have like the most narrative heavy lifting. Jasper, is there
Yeah.
anything I miss?
I was just gonna say that like the way that it shows up on streaming now is kind of unfortunate. I had this entire album loaded on my 2 GB iPod Nano. That was my first ever music player back in literally like 2006, 2007. And when you select each one, it was the name of the song slash the name of the second part slash. So
Yeah.
you kind of got the sense of the story just from looking at the track titles. Whereas
That's how Apple Music has it.
yeah, I don't know why Spotify doesn't have it that way. It's a little annoying, but
Part
They've
yeah, no,
released this album a lot of different ways with a lot of different ways they packaged it. Like I'm not a huge fan about how every song is like a twofer, where it's like Holiday and then Boulevard of Broken Dreams and like Are We the Waiting and Saint Jimmy, because like sometimes I just want to listen to one of those songs. You know, not that like it has any factor like when you're listening to the album in the context that we're talking about it, but I do think that's just like annoying. And yeah,
I should correct myself. So Apple Music has the deluxe version, which has it the way Purvis said it, or like Jasper said it, and then they have just the regular version where it's all separate. So
interesting. Yeah,
You got options.
yeah.
yeah.
you got options.
So yeah, this is like the first sweeping movement, and it kind of talks about just like the character hitting zero at in his suburban home and then deciding to leave. And I think it tells that story really well. It sounds like a nervous breakdown. Like
And there's a
Yeah.
reason this was turned into a play.
yeah,
Yeah, it
because
was a musical.
Yeah. I'm shocked they never made it into like a full-fledged movie. Like they're like I imagine
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But it's been 20 years.
There's a person that's going to be behind the writing of that,
Yeah.
and it's one of the four of us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
It's like without him, nobody would know that Hamilton
I'm
was a
like
rapper.
just trying to make it like Purple Rain. Like that.
Hey, you got the
I-
most writing skills out of all. Go for it.
Facts.
Don't remind me.
I actually wanted to ask about that because that is the one thing that I've heard more than once now when I did bring it up to friends. What exactly qualifies this as a rock opera? What's a rock opera? Or why are you
A
calling
rock
it that?
opera is just like it's what they would call concept albums back when like rock was really the only genre doing it. More or less.
On top of that, I'll say it's like you get these kind of multi-part ballad style songs that flow into each other, like Bohemian Rhapsody does, where you've got like 3 or 4 different parts that come together in like a longer format thing.
Yeah.
Operas traditionally, 3 to 4 hours is like a pretty standard runtime for one. So a lot of these songs being of that length and being comprised of different acts kind of mirrors that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's those combinations of two. Yeah. And this was like probably the most preeminent rock opera of like our lifetime. Like other ones are like A Night at the Opera by Queen, which is the album that has Bohemian Rhapsody on it. 2112 has like
Rush,
has like a time traveling like spiritual kind of thing. Yeah, it's insane how deep and intricate rock operas can get. But they're essentially just like concept albums. Right? Like so
Pink Floyd's The Wall is
Pink
another
Floyd's
great
The
example.
Wall is another great example. Yeah.
Okay. But I like the song a lot.
The Saint Jimmy or the Jesus of Suburbia.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I listened to it, I didn't realize the parts stand out when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, this song is kind of long, and I didn't realize how long it was. Because it was all kind of just like mushed together on Spotify. But no, I love the narrative. I think this is like a really dope storyline in terms of like you mentioned, like he's almost like crashing out.
Yeah, it really is. It's the story of crashing out. So from there we have probably the 2 most iconic songs, I would say, besides the title track itself, which is Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. right? Like
Classics.
yeah, these are just classics. Really kind of insane how many classic songs are on this album going back and re-listening to it. But yeah, no, from here, these were the big radio singles. These were the ones that were everywhere. I think Boulevard of
Describe
Broken.
our last 12 months, going up to the highs and going down to the lows.
Yeah. And I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams is just like a great example of one that I think, once again, it's about that emotion. It's not like a very narrative heavy song, but it really gets like the emotion where the character is at that point. And this is why people can attach to it so hard when you don't have like the full context.
Yeah, because I mean, these two songs go. The music video when these two songs go together, it's just perfect.
Yeah, and I think like these two songs are the reason why everything is paired up on Spotify, because these two cut together so well that I think they just started doing that with all the other songs on the album that I don't think are as much of a pair. But yeah, no, these I would say are the highlights of the album is these two tracks right here, Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Yeah.
There's a lot of storyline behind this album. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I'm like still looking up and finding stuff. I tried to pull up the album on Spotify. I realized I didn't listen to the deluxe. I don't know if that matters.
No.
Because the last thing I heard was "What's Her Name."
Yeah, no, that's where it ends.
Is that accurate? Okay.
Yeah, there are other ones like Shoplifter and like Governator that are like
too much too soon.
Yeah,
they're bonus tracks.
Yeah, okay. No, yeah. I definitely think What's Her Name is where the album traditionally ends. I didn't hear all the bonus tracks until very recently because I just didn't have I didn't have the deluxe growing up.
I had Favorite Son as a single, but the thing about a lot of the bonus tracks is that they don't necessarily even musically sound in step with the album. Like the guitar tone is different. You could tell that a lot of things on it were like recorded at different times. But
totally fair.
I was actually looking into it. The song Favorite Son was a Japanese only exclusive release for the CDs released over there. And this is a pretty common thing. Daft Punk did it. They just put out the
Kanye West and John Mayer did it.
Yeah. So like Daft Punk, the song Horizon was a Japan only that came out in the US finally 10 years later. Turns out the reason they do that is because it's super expensive to import CDs there, which means it's super expensive to sell them. So a lot of times labels will request that artists make additional content exclusively for that market to try and drive sales up because they know that they're getting something exclusive that way.
That makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
Everything's a business.
Yep. I just wish we could get Bittersweet Symphonies from Kanye and John Mayer.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get it.
I just get the
keep dreaming.
Eventually, soon, I'm gonna get the vinyl, the Japanese vinyl.
There you go.
You said Bittersweet Poetry?
Symphonies.
Yes. Symphonies
poetry. I thought it's Bittersweet Poetry.
Is it?
I think Bittersweet Symphony is the original song. I think Bittersweet Poetry is the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I was tweaking. I was like, man, I thought I wanted the song more.
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah. But yeah, no, I completely agree that like I think a lot of the bonus tracks like I feel just very, very different. I think a lot of them are very good songs, but I think they just do not sound or even feel like American Idiot.
There's a reason they're not on the main track.
100%, yeah. So from there, what's up, Purvis?
No, because it's the reason I'm asking now because the next 4 songs does why is it combined together? Is there a reason?
No, it's just because like
it's the storytelling.
It's the storytelling, right? It's just to kind of encourage people to listen to these songs like in sequence, in order, right?
That's actually genius when you put it that way.
Yeah, right. It's like when the album came out, like it wasn't on a CD. It wasn't like that. It was, but that's because it was a CD and not Spotify. You didn't have as much control over the files. But yeah, no, it's just like them trying their hardest to make sure this is an album that gets played in order, which makes sense. Like there is like an intense narrative here. I think way more, and like I think these songs, specifically Saint Jimmy through Letter Bomb, I think are just really important to hear in sequence, especially like
Yes.
you know, I think a lot of them can be play really well on their own, like in a playlist. But I think in any other context, you want these to be kind of playing together.
Honestly, when you put it that way, I love this idea and I hope to see it more.
Yeah. Do you think this is
For
something?
concept albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Like just to kind of keep the experience alive as much as possible. 100%.
Something
Now-
like you listen to it live or something.
I'm going to say this. For most of my life, I would always skip Are We the Waiting. It was always my least favorite song on this album. That changed when I
Wow.
saw it live.
Yeah,
When
dude.
you get
This
the
is
chant filling with the crowd.
Yeah.
this is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw it live, something in my brain clicked on. But
It just changed for you.
yeah, but
When you hear the chant, it does hit different in
Yeah.
person.
yeah, the chant hits different in person, right?
This used to always hit for me whenever I had a bad day after like a day of high school, and hearing someone say this dirty town is burning down in my dreams was like the fuel I needed.
Jesus. I hope it wasn't the literal fuel you
Very,
needed.
very
Well, I went to
suburban.
high school in Norwood Park, which is basically a suburb, the closest you can get to being a suburb in the city. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it sucks.
that's
Like
true.
that whole area, just like raise it. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah, Melrose Park is pretty much the exact same thing. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, but you went to.
I went to school out there. Yeah, we committed fraud.
Wait,
Like
Well,
Yeah,
let's
like-
not talk about that.
You would've went- yeah.
yeah, we
But going off of that, Jasper, that is actually a theme. That was like one of the first themes I picked up. I was just like, Brandon and I talked about this very briefly in text, but it was somewhat connected. Where I was saying, like, I feel like punk music. I just feel like angsty white kids in suburban like cities. Like, I feel like songs like this was what makes me feel like it's just like a really Midwest suburban pop rock like thing. It's very on par.
I wouldn't so
Yeah.
much say Midwest because this is a very LA sound.
Very
Beyond that, I think you're on the money. I
just
think
like I just picturing like a bunch of kids coming home from high school, just
yeah, this is
ready
exactly-
to kill the government. And I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah, dude.
That's where I'm from. That's me.
Everyone's like, that's me.
I can only
It's the
take so
Leonardo
many keep
DiCaprio
off.
meme. It's like
I can only take so many keep off the grass signs with no sidewalks.
I get it. I do get it. I grew up in a suburb, so I get it. I'm not I won't lie about my uprising. I get the
Yeah.
hype behind it, but it does come with that feeling of me just like, look at these white kids.
Yeah. So, question for you guys. I know Jasper did, but does everyone get that "Give Me Novocaine" as a metaphor?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
I don't know anything about this album, so
Well, no, I just remember. Okay, so the song "Give Me Novocaine," where it's about heroin, like it's about like drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I had a friend who,
Keep it that
growing
much.
up, thought it was legitimately about a guy who was addicted to going to the dentist.
okay, no,
Yeah,
I
Leland-
didn't get that.
Jeff Leland Kaplan insisted that this song was about someone being addicted to going to the dentist.
Dropped his whole name.
My shiny teeth and me.
Hey, that song bangs.
That song is.
Oh man, yeah, I picked
He
up. that
doesn't
this
use
was about
social media, so he's good.
Yeah, I know he doesn't watch this show. Like, he's definitely not gonna watch this episode. Like,
I understand.
He's a metalhead.
but yeah, no. So we get there. I think that is. I actually really love the song "Saint Jimmy" and "Give Me Novocaine." I think those are really strong back to back. And then, "She's a Rebel and Extraordinary Girl," I feel like are much more of a back to back song than the ones that they actually are packaged with on streaming.
Yeah, they would fit so much better if they were.
Yeah,
Together.
right. Because they're both about the same character, and
But
I
you get
love.
Extraordinary Girl and Letterbomb.
Yeah, and like I think Letterbomb should stand on its own because it's kind of
Mhm.
it's like, in my opinion, like one of the really superb deep cuts on the album is Letterbomb. But yeah, I love
One song I always forget about.
Yeah, it is like that song for a lot of people, but for me, it was always one of my favorites.
To me, it's because it's smashed between that and Wake Me Up When September Ends.
Yeah, right. And Wake Me Up When September Ends was a sensation when that happened. That song, like, cause it hit like on the radio like almost 2 years after the album came out. I remember that being like really unique and weird. Like it like just blowing up after it'd been out for so long.
Yeah.
And you said this is about his father passing away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because his dad died in like September, I believe, or something like that. But yeah, it's about
Right
his
after
dad
cancer
dying.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay.
Yeah, no, a lot of real subjects.
Yeah. Yeah, because like he had always wanted to write a song about him and whatnot, and the war breaking out and his dad dying, like this was like the perfect song to mesh the two. He
Right.
was saying, because I just saw that on a TikTok like this week.
Mm. I was looking into it. They were all like 30 at this point, right?
Yeah,
They were a little bit older.
Around there, yeah.
yeah. This was all like adult men making this
Mhm.
music.
Yes.
Because this is 10 years after their debut album.
Yeah,
So
Man, what a shift from 21st Nights of September. Anyway.
dude, it's insane. I do have to say, like, do you think we've ever seen like a bigger mid-career resurgence than Green Day after American Idiot?
The only thing I can think of is Jay-Z 444.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't think
And
he had
even that's
felt,
not as big.
I don't think he had fallen as hard. That's the thing,
that's also
right?
true.
That's fair.
He did
Like-
not, Jay-Z
Fair, yeah.
didn't fall.
There was less
Because-
time between.
Because Waiting, the album that came out before American Idiot, I like some songs on that album. It was universally kind of hated. So I would even, I think like a lot of people might be tempted to say Kanye with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but even with the misunderstanding of
It didn't fall off.
808s, it was like I wouldn't say like Green Day had completely fallen off. They just had like one real bad album, and then they came back with like their best album yet. So
Come back
Yeah.
a year and I'm going to say Chance.
you could say Chance. It's a little bit different because Green Day had several good albums before that.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. Like I would say that if Chance releases like an acid rap level classic with his next
Give me an acid
album,
rap too, please.
yeah, if it is that good, yeah, I would 100% say Chance is up there. But no, I think this was a mid career rehyping, the likes of which I've never seen. I remember even being a kid, people talking about like how MTV nominated them for like best new artist, and it was like Dookie came out 10 years ago. What is going
Yeah.
on?
And
Right.
Kerplunk in 1039 before that even.
Yeah, right. And those are super like indie releases, which you got to do if you're a punk band. So, they've been around for a minute, but I think still being able to get this level of like raw observation, it's really, really something special. And I think they earned this second wind in their career.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was making art at this point in this genre that even came close to scratching the itch of so many people in terms of describing what was happening politically and socially at the time with I mean, Bush being elected was like Reagan 2.0 for a lot of people in a lot of ways. And
Yeah.
suburban culture, and it was like the era of like gas guzzling cars. Hummer was in like military chic was like a predominant popular style. There's like a lot of shit like that there was a lot of negative reaction to among people who weren't center or on the right. And it's like this was the protest anthem for those people.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it really was just like a way to capture the zeitgeist all in one. And, to kind of pivot slightly to the show, like, I think it is something that is incredibly hard to do nowadays, which is, I think, a secondary reason why I think this album is getting a bit of a resurgence in the Trump era. Because, like, you say George W. Bush was Reagan 2.0, and, like, that is a really, really valid observation to have from the perspective of it being 2004. Like having gone through a Trump presidency and everything. You know, he truly was Reagan 2.0, and I can see why. Because like for me personally, I went through this kind of like this phase of like, you know, in 2012, 2013, thinking American Idiot was kind of passe. Like, you know, it's really, this album played differently when Obama was in office and people thought the world was going to be better. Like, but then,
Better times would do that for you.
yeah, but then
You know?
it was very much like, oh, it came out and it was like, you know, incredibly insightful. At the 10-year anniversary, it was kind of passe. And then in the 20th anniversary, it was a prophecy. It was like this really insane. And it really does kind of, I think like the thing that's kind of interesting is it paints a lot of what was going on in the country with a very broad brush, because it's a pop punk album that has to tell everything in punchy lyrics and like, you know, tight rhythms. So it does that. But the thing is that works even more now because the Republican Party, the right wing, is a lot more just like one thing now. You know, you say the original lyric in American Idiot was like the redneck agenda. That really did not encapsulate what was going on in the Republican Party. But calling it a MAGA agenda, there kind of is just kind of one thing going on.
It's very deliberate. The one thing I would say to that is like, I do think Bush is still an adequate Reagan 2.0 because the two things that Reagan and Bush shared was that there was an institutional and a cultural shift in the public towards conservatism.
Yeah.
And you see it as a reaction to 9/11, that becoming more of there's like a conservative focus there, you know, brands and businesses and people dressed in plainer colors. There was a rejection of fantasy and you know, a lot of movies that came out after 9/11 around that time really didn't do well, that were of like the magical fantasy sort. Donnie Darko bombed in theaters when it came out, and now it's a cult classic.
I mean, you're kind of missing the. I agree with you.
No, I know. I know what you're
there's
saying.
Like a really pointed
yeah.
example of some really fantastical shit that came out in the early 2000s and
For
performed
sure.
very well.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think the cultural shift towards conservative was more significant then than it is under like with like Trump in 2016. I don't think the public shifted in the same way, but the fervor was there from his supporters for sure. Like that was amplified.
I agree with what you're saying. Like I agree with like there was when Reagan got in office, the entire country got more conservative and like
it was a reactionary to the 70s.
And the same thing happened with George Bush. And in Trump, the thing is that the American psyche had been fractured by social media by the time Trump had gotten around. So you just were never going to have that kind of thing. But yes, no, I see where you're coming from. And on a cultural level, I'm there with you. Okay, so I think we're at like the last long multi-phased song, which is Homecoming, which was another for me standout on the album. I've always really loved Homecoming because it's always just to me felt like very celebratory. It's always felt like a climax, like the end of a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've loved this 5-act structure for it. And I think it leads into the closer really, really well.
I really like that last song.
We're coming.
What's her name?
What's her name is incredible. What's her name is a fantastic closing song.
Top tier.
Yeah.
One of my favorite closing songs for a while.
This is like, in terms of like a songwriting exercise, I would put this up there. This is like I think I said this to you, Brandon, when we went. I was like, this is specifically Billy Joe's Blackbird.
Yeah.
Or like, or even like Yesterday, like Paul McCartney's Yesterday. It's like, this is his version of that in a sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I can agree with that. I think it's very cleverly written. I think, you know, it's very tongue-in-cheek. I think it's a wonderful closer. I think with how bombastic Homecoming is, I think it makes for a wonderful – like, turn-down song.
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%.
But yeah, no, to me it's like very hard to keep talking about this album because there's just so much good involved with it.
Yeah. There really isn't a bad song. I don't think you could go through and point to any song and say this doesn't hold up, you know? At least not on the standard edition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, it's very hard to just pick one song that is bad, but there isn't any.
No,
And
yeah, it flows and it's sequenced so well.
yeah, and one funny trait about Green Day specifically is that even though like the subject matter focused on early 2000s and you can kind of date it to that, even though it is relevant now, the sound of it, because Green Day has such a sustained and consistent sound across a lot of their art, like a lot of their work, it doesn't necessarily feel like music that would have come out in 2004 like their contemporaries. It's like, oh yeah, that's the Green Day sound, but it's not like, oh yeah, I can pinpoint that to Green Day 2004,
Yeah,
And,
I'm with you on
one thing we're forgetting is back in 2004, an artist or a band had to go up against people illegally downloading their stuff. So
Yeah,
making
more
an
so
album
than
where
now. Yeah.
you're going to want to have it all bleed right into each other like this, you're going to want to have something like that so you don't have to just go, wait, I just want this, this, this. To get the full story, you have to have every song.
Yeah. I also think that playing off that a little bit, I think another huge factor of it, even though it's kind of secondary, is I think this was like the first huge zeitgeisty cult like concept album that people had the internet to go and discuss and figure out.
100%.
And I think that is another reason why I think this lives so fondly in the hearts of a lot of people. And I think like why I would almost say those two facts, like American Idiot is kind of the reason why we have so many concept albums now, is because we look at like, granted, American Idiot puts a lot on its sleeve. It's certainly nowhere near as subtle as like Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, but you can go back in 2004. You can go on a message board, talk about everything about this album, and motivate someone else.
Without that, we never would have gotten here.
Exactly.
Right? So I think like just by being the people who are willing to do that, I think their influence has gone far outside their genre and artists that sound like them.
Yep. Yeah, because people were just not just going to magazines like Rolling Stone for all that.
Yeah.
Internet did a good job to bring everyone together.
You do what you can.
Community.
Yeah, and what's funny is that this album did okay when it released, critically at least. It got a 79 out of 100 aggregated on Metacritic with like mostly 8 out of 10 style responses. So
that's pretty good though.
It's pretty good, but I think seeing how it has aged a lot better and has become even more of that like kind of cult classic than at the time. I think there were plenty of people who listened to it and may have rejected it just based on the fact that maybe you were a supporter of the Iraq War, or maybe you didn't, agree with a lot of the messaging, stuff like that. And I think that moving on from that now, it's easier to see the artistic value of it as much as the political value at the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, like, it's like I didn't know what was going on. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like you're so young. Like,
most people with master's degree don't understand the Iraq War.
My fucking dad would drive me and my brother to school every day because we went to school like 3 blocks from his work downtown. It was a 40-minute drive in morning rush hour, and he would listen to NPR the entire time. So, like, I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew like key themes, and like this was something I didn't put together with it at the time. But like, this album always hit. You know?
All right. Now, do we want to talk about the show that we went to about a month ago?
Yes.
So we were actually able to go see the 20th anniversary show of American Idiot, where they played it in its entirety at Wrigley Field. They also did their first album, Dookie. My major call out is that I did not think they had to play Dookie in order. That's it. That's why. Like
You're not
that's my
wrong.
main one.
You're not wrong.
I don't think you had to do that, Chief. I think you could have chopped that album up, maybe put some other songs from across, from Free American Idiot, I think, in there. If you wanted to take a little break in the middle of American Idiot, because I think that one needs to be done in order. You could do some songs from Post American Idiot there. That's fine. That's about it. I thought they were really. I think for guys that were kind of a lot of the rock bands from that era now are just older, so I think there is a question of like, can they just keep up? And I think they did a wonderful job, specifically Billy Joe.
It was really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Trey Cool drumming both albums back to back. Drumming is a very physical task, as we all know. Like, goddamn. And then after that, coming out to he sang All By Myself, which is his song, The End of Dookie. And then he also sang his bit Rock and Roll Girlfriend on American Idiot. And he did that during 2 hours of just full intensity live performing drums, which is insane. And it was also like 100 degrees outside. It was so hot. It was maybe not 100, but it was real humid.
It was real hot. Yeah.
It was very humid.
Y'all at Wrigley, right?
Yeah.
So open air, there's no break from like there's maybe they have fans on stage, but like once the night comes in there, it's just like there's no breeze. It's just kind of hot and sticky, and it's just tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show, and it was a great reminder of how fucking important and how relevant this music is to what's going on right now.
Yeah.
How they got all political and how everyone went wild was so fucking hilarious.
That was really great.
Yeah, we saw people leave, and it's just like,
oh yeah,
yeah, it's like, what are you here for?
Like, go back to Naperville, you fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for the benefit of the doubt, I mean, we're in Wrigley.
Right, it's the same area.
They weren't maybe leaving to go home. They were maybe leaving to go to a bar.
I'm saying that's where they're from, though. That's the joke.
And I'm saying
the joke being,
Brandon, you live down the street. You probably would have done the same thing.
No,
yeah.
I'm poor. Like,
I was gonna say if
you weren't poor,
yeah.
If you are a conservative, like anyone conservative who lives in like any suburb, and you go to a Green Day show to listen to American Idiot, the entire concept of the album has completely sailed over your head. Like, it's literally about that.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I live in the area, and I know it's like the most liberal part of the city. So it's like,
yeah,
I know anyone who's gonna walk out with a sour face because they said the MAGA agenda, like the guy who was in front of us. I know he's not from where I'm from. Like,
I remember when they sang that and said that at Lollapalooza when I saw them.
Yeah, because they've been doing
crowd
that.
went nuts.
Because they've been doing that for a long time. Like
doing it since 16.
Yeah,
like they've been doing it for like 8 years. So it's like, yeah, and yeah, it is very.
And you would think they would re-release the song,
right? Yeah, like I would be. Yeah, get those extra streams if anything. Like,
yeah,
that'd be wild. What does a re-recorded version of this look like 20 years later?
Probably.
I mean, Kesha's re-releasing it. Kesha's taking out the wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. She's releasing that to say fuck P. Diddy.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it's good that she's doing that. Yeah, no, I mean, they could do it. I'm not against it.
Wake up in the morning, I said, fuck P. Diddy.
We make the whole song just for that part.
That's hilarious.
God, but it is. And I think this is true. Fuck P. Diddy. Like,
that's what he wants.
No, fair point.
Yeah, he wants you to fuck him.
He's gonna drop this hope a couple times. But anyway,
I mean, if he went to a P. Diddy party, he'd see new ass and he'd be.
That's why I don't go to any parties.
Okay.
This is why I go to parties at my friend Jasper's house, and that's it. Like,
all right, should we give this a rating?
Yes.
Yeah, like, is there a rate? Yeah, I give it
A+.
Yeah, I give this an A+.
Yeah, it's an A. It's an A. It's a cult classic.
All right. Should we, I guess, do recommendations, or did we make it?
Yeah, I think we made it. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Let's get recommendations and get out of here.
Alrighty.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Hell yeah.
My first one's gonna be Tupac, Fame. Came on one of my playlists on my train ride home today, and it's a classic. It's phenomenal, nice. It's about wanting to be famous.
If you say Tupac, it's a classic.
Yeah, that is
Approved.
a classic.
It's the beat. I love the beat on this song. It's just mellow. It's not too hard. It's not a hard rap song from Tupac.
Mm.
I'm into
I
that.
like that.
I'm into that. I like that answer.
Because that's what he's known for. Like a lot of his music is like hard, mean,
Tupac.
not
Yeah.
so like relaxed, mellow.
Vibey.
Yeah.
No. All
I
right.
like it.
Who wants to go next?
But-
I got one.
Go ahead.
But
In keeping with the theme, I'm going with Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, Green Day, off of, what is this? Off of
That's a good one.
Nimrod. It's Nimrod.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's their probably their most famous song, but it is a good one.
Close out
song-
every
yeah.
show with it.
Yeah, I also like that album. I think Nimrod's a good album.
It is, yeah. There's a lot of stuff off
Um,
Super Hits that's from Nimrod originally.
Yeah, Nimrod's a good album. Purvis, you want to go?
sure. I don't get to listen to Kanye too often nowadays. When I do, it's a slight treat. Violent Crimes is so good.
Violent Crimes is
Ooh.
really good.
It's just a perfect song. It fits amazingly within all these different sports edits that I've been watching. And D Rose
How
retired
people hate that
today,
album.
and I want to cry.
I like that album.
Everyone I
I
know-
really like Yay. I think that's a
And
good
that album gets so much hate.
Yeah, no, I thought that was. I think
It's a
that
great-
album is. Yeah,
It's
great.
phenomenal.
I think if anything,
I wouldn't say it's good. It's good. It's great.
it's way
Yeah.
better than where the stuff he released after it.
Yeah,
just all-
yeah. I think that's one of his last good albums.
I think it's his last great album, in my opinion.
I think Donda blows this out of the water. I'm sorry.
Really? No, I don't. I think Donda is way too bloated.
It is, but I think there's just so much
I
to
think-
like in it still.
Still, like, I don't
wanna
know, man.
break-
I find myself going back to this more than I do Donda.
Yeah, just because like there's so many songs off Donda, right? Like if Donda was like maybe 11 tracks long, I think I could feel that.
That's
but
fair.
I don't know, like because I think Donda is so bloated that every song that doesn't have to be there isn't like -1; it's like -2. You know what I mean?
You have to
So-
like sit there and listen.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but it's about God, and
We know.
like
As a Jewish man, tell me if you know
Like-
someone who needs
just
Jesus.
Oh
Right.
man,
So like when it's good, like when it's like No Child Left Behind, I'm like, okay, I can get into this. But like,
But then when he says he's done miracles on me,
it's just like it kills the whole mood for Brandon.
it's like okay, whatever. Like,
Just we got the same God. Like, wait.
all right,
different God.
My
Anyway.
first recommendation is gonna be just like a B cut from one of my favorite favorite albums, two of the favorite artists of the podcast. But I don't know if we've ever actually talked about this song. It's Kid Cudi featuring RZA, Bees off Indicud.
Stings, bitch.
I love that.
I love
song.
this song.
I love that song. It's like one of my favorite RZA features. I'm a huge RZA fan. I always really liked him rapping, and like I was always disappointed going back to Wu-Tang and hearing how much of his stuff was just strictly production.
Yeah.
So this was fun. So that song showed up on my shuffle on the way to St. Louis, so I was listening to it a lot.
Nice, nice, nice. My second song is gonna be The Game and Lil Wayne, My Life.
Good comment.
Another song that came on my shuffle as I was walking to work.
The game needs more. Well, I shouldn't say that.
I mean, his early stuff was so much better.
I will say his early stuff needs more love.
The Game, the documentary, was the first album I bought.
That's
Like
and that's a good.
how I was able to buy it still blows my mind. Like
How's
whoever was working the register,
Yeah, at like 13 blows my mind.
like you're supposed to need an ID,
But yeah, like,
parental advisory. Like what? Blows my mind.
it's a different time. People didn't care back then.
Yeah,
Oh, no one gave a shit back then.
Yeah,
no one about anything.
Now there's a woke agenda. No, I'm just joking. Brandon,
It's
go.
like the woke libs. Dude, I say that all the time. Whenever we don't have anything, it's like if we're like out of like Cheez-Its or whatever, I'll be like, Rachel, the woke libs are
Cheez-It.
keeping me from having.
Does she smack you in the head?
She laughs.
The woke lib is you.
No,
You ate
I,
the Cheez-Its.
I definitely do that when I see something I don't like. I turn to whoever's next to me. I'm like, this is the future liberals want.
Yeah, this is the woke. It's like when I figured out, like when I got the release date for the new Zelda game wrong. I'm like, the woke libs changes the day.
Grand Theft Auto being delayed. GTA 6.
Yes, exactly. You're on my vibe now.
It's the DJ Khaled. They don't want you to have GTA 6. They don't want you to have Parfait.
Oh my god! Do you guys see that thing? I was like, I saw this comedian talking about Palestine, and it was like, do we really need the most famous Palestinian to speak up? It's DJ Khaled.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like they're going
So
through a
funny.
lot right now. We want to put them through another one. All right, Jasper, you're up.
Purvis is trying so hard not to actually laugh at that. All right,
It fits so well, but anyway.
I'm going with a Gambino rec, who we would be seeing next week if it weren't for health issue.
Oh, don't remind me.
I'm sad.
I forget.
I'm honestly kind of blessed because now I get to buy a shit ton of merch.
Yeah, true.
Fair.
And the song is
Sure.
To Be Hunted off of Atavista.
Good.
I really like this song. I didn't listen to it, I guess. Well, I listened to it when it was on through 1520, but I never, a lot of it didn't like stand out to me, but as it's been remade or remastered, to me, it really stands out. And the part right at the beginning that's so fucking funny to me that I never really noticed before, he goes into the lyrics. He's talking as his dad talking to him, "You so gorgeous." And then in the back here, "Thanks, Dad." And then it goes into the rest of the song. I'm like, why would you throw that in there? That's like so silly, and it's like such a good song, but it's just like such a silly like, "Thanks, Dad." Like, I appreciate it.
Real.
It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Nothing wrong with that. I'll do my second song. I think it's my turn. I'm gonna do a song by IDK featuring Westside Gun, MF Doom, and J Electronica called Red. It's a damn good song.
Yeah, that sounds too hard to handle.
It's a damn good song.
I
don't know why it sounds like
that
Kanye in
song
it.
sounds like it smells.
That's wild, dude.
That's crazy. But I highly recommend that song.
Yeah. Okay, my last one. Last Thursday, I was at the Remy Wolf show. She is the artist whose merch I'm currently wearing. She's a alt pop artist. She's fantastic. I wanted to recommend one of her songs off her latest album, Toro. Her last album, Big Ideas, is really good. A really thoroughly fun pop album. I did a really big disservice the first time I listened to it because I listened to it in between Bando Stone and Alligator Bites Never Heal. And it's not as good as either of those two albums. So it's like, right. So
handle it once.
Right. So, but after seeing her live and listening to a lot of her music this weekend, it's very funky, very 70s influence. She's kind of a singer. She's very famous for having like the most well-liked Frank Ocean cover. So yeah, I highly recommend her album, the song, Toro, the artist. Highly recommend. Guys, is that it?
We made it.
I believe so.
Is that it?
Next week we'll be doing part 2.
Yeah, part 2 of Switch Up September, even though it will technically be October, but life is hard.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, but Purvis, do you want to tell people?
Well, technically this is Jeff's.
Oh yeah, no, this is Jeff's. Jeff's.
Usher, Confession.
And it's a good pick.
It's a good pick. It is a good pick for the podcast. So
It's another 20-year anniversary.
yeah, it is. And I do think I do like that our Switch Up September this year is basically just like a cold, hard look at 2004. Like, we should do the college dropout the week after.
2004 Unfiltered sounds like a miniseries on like HBO.
Yep.
Oh my god.
No, that's going to be more Vice.
True. Yeah.